If you are like me and use the DJI Mini 3 Pro, these are some of the best things you can get for it. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the wide-angle anamorphic ND pack for the Mini 3 Pro and the Bright Day 6-pack from Freewell. Both of those packs were provided by Freewell, but this review is based on my experience and what I think about the filters. So, on a recent trip to Gran Canaria on the Canary Islands, well, I wanted to try out different filters for the DJI Mini 3 Pro. I never used filters in my videos and I never felt like I needed any, but I thought, you know what, with it having an f1.7 aperture, why not try some different filters? And I reached out to Freewell. They were kind enough to send us those two packs. And yeah, I used them throughout the trip, so let's talk about how they work. I'm gonna start with this smaller, which is the Bright Day 6-pack. This is actually a pack of ND and PL filters. What this means is a natural density and polarizing filter in one, which is actually two filters in one in a way. Polarizing filters usually are for the bouncing of light, for example, from the water. If you have like light bouncing off the water to the drone, that is going to be cut out. And the ND filters usually are used to have the shutter speed the way you want it to. So normally you want to have the shutter speed twice the amount of frames that you shoot in. For example, I usually shoot in 60 frames per second. That's how I like to shoot with my drone. And the shutter speed should be twice the amount of that, which means 1/120. But without an ND filter, that cannot be possible. Usually on a camera like this, you can actually turn one more thing, which is the aperture. The aperture is at f1.7, so you cannot change it. And that is where an ND filter comes in. So thanks to these ND filters, you can actually have the settings that you want in your photos and videos. One thing that is really cool about those filters is that polarization depends on the angle of the shot. And because you can actually shoot in vertical and horizontal on the Mini 3 Pro, well, in this case, you can actually turn the polarizing filter to H or V, which is for vertical and horizontal. And in this bag, you actually get the CPL, which is the polarizing, and then you have 5 more polarizing filters with ND filters. So we have the ND4, 8, 16, 32, and 64, depending on how much sunlight you have in that location. They're really easy to clip on. All you have to do is turn the lens cap from the Mini 3 Pro, and then you just turn and clip on the filter on the drone. Thanks to these filters, you can get cinematic motion blur in your footage. That is the difference between like normally you would have like a 1/1000 shutter speed compared to 1/120, or in terms of like a 30 frames per second video, which would be the shutter speed of 1/60. Thanks to those, you can actually have that cinematic looking feeling, or in reality, it is not even the cinematic, it just feels natural. As you can see, when I'm moving my hand, it feels natural to our eyes. The shutter speed is twice the amount of frames that I'm recording it, and that is helping to make your drone footage look that much more natural and cinematic. And that is why you need ND filters, and in this case with the polarizing, you have a different effect overlooking the water, which is really cool because it seems a little bit more clear. You can really see what's beneath. In terms of the wide angle anamorphic, this one is just beautiful. I really love this one. So when we open up the case, you find two different filters on the top. I actually have an ND filter on one, and let me explain. One of those is the wide angle. It creates that you have a little bit more field of view from your drone. If you're in a tight spot, this is an amazing tool, but I did not find myself using it too much. To be honest, it is not something I'm gonna use too much, but if I need, I have it, which is perfect. In terms of the anamorphic, it stretches out the footage a little bit, so once you're editing, you have to actually compress it to 0.84 to make it look the way it should be. And you may be thinking, well, what are we doing here? Anamorphic means the different aspect ratio pretty much. So instead of having 16:9 as you're watching right now, I know a lot of people are gonna say cinematic black bars, but it's somewhat that, not really. It just means that the footage is a little bit more, wider than taller. And this helps us record in that anamorphic, that squeezed look. It has a beautiful effect. Like, I love watching anamorphic footage. I wasn't a fan of it at first, maybe not with this, but overall of the anamorphic, style of videos. The more I started to play around with it, I just fell in love. Seeing the footage in that kind of cinematic filming look. And this gets us the footage in that anamorphic aspect ratio right away. But you might be asking, why not just record in the 4K 60 frames per second and then, cut the top and bottom like 10% from both? And usually I would do it, but you're losing some data. You're basically cutting out data from the top and bottom, where with this, you're shooting right away in that aspect ratio. Everything is a little bit different, but then you squish it in a little bit and it seems like it should be, but you're not losing on the recording. You're pretty much recording the whole thing as it should. And both of those filters are really easy to set up. Once again, we have like this small filter, as you can see. All you have to do is twist it on again on the Mini 3 Pro. And once you turn it on, if you want to have an ND filter for any of the two, well, ND filters here are just slightly smaller ND filters that you put on top of that lens, which is very convenient and very nice that they actually put ND filters on those two lenses, because you would think that maybe it's a little bit too much, but no, they actually have really tiny and pretty much weighing nothing ND filters for both of them. And I can tell you that the anamorphic with an ND filter just looks so good. I love the way the footage looks. I know it's not for everyone and it's not for everything, but if you want that kind of look, this can make your drone footage just look so amazing. The Mini 3 Pro has amazing camera. Add an anamorphic lens with a right ND filter, right shutter speed, and you have a perfect footage usable for almost anything. You could literally make movies with that setup. That is how good this setup is. So I said many positives. Here is my slight negatives. Anamorphic and wide angle, there are more specialty lens. So if I'm not sure I'm gonna use that in anamorphic aspect ratio, sometimes I might feel like if maybe I should just shoot it in normal, just in case if I want to use it in 16:9. So in my opinion, those filters are amazing, but they're there for a reason. If you know what you're doing, you're gonna love them. If you're using them for what they're made, you're gonna be so in love with them. I have to say the packaging is so premium. Not only the package that they come in and the little extras that you get with them, you can actually get like a whole booklet of things like stickers, manuals, everything inside. The packaging is very nice. Once you open this and you have the casing with the filters, this just feels so premium. And I'm loving it. It just makes it so convenient, just straight out of the box. You have somewhere to hold them, and I just put those two little packets in my Fly More kit for the Mini 3 Pro, and just makes it so, safe and usable. Overall, if you are looking for filters like these, I can highly recommend from Freewell. They are amazing and they make the video footage that much better. And that is going to be the end for today's video. If you have any more questions, check out the comments down below, let me know, I'll be there to answer anything you might have. And that is going to be the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video once again, and I'll see you next time.